Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Morning Mindset. I hope you're ready today to get your minds aligned with the truth of God. And today we have such a privilege. We have an opportunity to just walk very slowly through a passage where Daniel, the biblical character from the Old Testament, is declaring truths about God. Now, when I come to a passage where it says, God does this, God does that, God is this way, I pay very close attention because I don't want to construct in my own mind and in my own feelings this unrealistic or untrue image of who I think God is. Because you see, it doesn't matter who I think God is. What matters is who God really is. And who he really is what we need to see. It's what we need to understand. Because we place our faith in a very real person, the God of the universe. And our faith will only be as strong as our knowledge of that person is. You see, when we understand who he really is and what he really can do and is capable of doing, which, by the way, is anything, then our faith is strengthened because we realize there's nothing too tall of an order for him. So we're going to look at Daniel chapter 2, verses 20 through 24. Now, contextually, Daniel is stating all of this in a prayer after God has answered prayer and has given him the understanding of a wild dream that the king of Babylon has had and the ability to interpret that meaning for the dream. All right, so here's what Daniel says. It says, Daniel answered and said, "Blessed be the name of God forever and ever, to whom belong wisdom and might." Okay, let's stop for a moment. Wisdom and might belong to God. Do you see that? They're like possessions of his. He's the one who created them. He's the one who doles them out to people. He's the one who can take away might or give might, take away wisdom or give wisdom. They belong to God. So let's not let the authorities and the circumstances of life cause us to think we do not have a great resource on our side. We do. We have the God to whom belongs wisdom and might. Daniel goes on and he says he changes times and seasons. He removes kings and sets up kings. So God is in charge of history. He changes the times and seasons. He's the one in charge of who is going to be king, who's going to be president, who's going to be this, who's going to be that. God is the one who does that. Though there may be elections, there may be coups, there may be military uprisings, none of that is outside of God's control. God is the one who removes kings and sets up kings and changes the times and seasons. So remember Daniel's context. Daniel is part of a conquered people who's been dragged away into Babylon as a slave. And yet he's placing even his history and his circumstance at the feet of God and saying God is the one in control of this situation. He goes on and he says, he gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. So this is very interesting. It's saying those who we would consider wise or are knowledgeable about things, they actually are recipients of God's wisdom and God's knowledge. They are the ones who have benefited from his gifts. He goes on, he says, he reveals deep and hidden things. He knows what is in the darkness and the light dwells with him. And I can't help but feel that Daniel is referring exactly to the answered prayer that he's just received, that he was seeking understanding of a dream that the king had that Daniel did not know about. And God gave him a clear picture of what the dream was and gave him the understanding of what the dream meant. You see, Daniel is thanking the Lord and praising and blessing him at the same time here. Then he turns and directly begins speaking to God. He says, "To you, O God of my fathers, I give thanks and praise, for you have given me wisdom and might, and have now made known to me what we asked of you, for you have made known to us the king's matter." Now notice how Daniel is rooted in his faith, to the historic faith that's been passed on to him. He refers to God as the God of his fathers. You see, friends, as dads and moms, parents, we are responsible to pass along faith to our children, to those under us. And David had received the faith of Israel and understanding of who the God of Israel is from his parents, from his grandparents. It had been passed down to him. And my friends, I want us to just be people like Daniel, who know our God so well and who praise him and receive from him and give thanks to him and do so for his glory. Jesus, fill us up with knowledge of you and enable us to give you glory in the way that we live, because we live confident in who you are. Show us how to do that in our day and age, and give us the ability to rest in you, even when we don't know the answers to our prayers yet, but to confidently trust you to reveal